India's first urban civilization was the Indus civilization, commonly referred to as the Harappan civilization. The same civilization is referred to by both names. Although some of the southern sites may have been inhabited for longer than the second millennium BCE, the nuclear dates for this civilization vary from 250 to 1700 BCE. Today we are going to talk about the biggest of the world's three first civilizations, the ancient civilization of Indus Valley, in our video. Before starting this video, like it and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The civilization was first found in the Punjabi city of Harappa in 1921, and later in the Sindhi city of Mohenjo-daro, close to the Indus River. Pakistan officially recognizes Sindh and Punjab as provinces. In the year 1980, Mohenjo-daro was included to the UNESCO list. Later on, at Ropar, or Rupar, a town at the base of the Shimla Hills in eastern Punjab state, northern India, relics of the civilization were found. Nearly 1,600 kilometers, 100 miles, northeast of Sutkagen Dor is this place. Sutkagen Dor is a town in southwest Balochistan, Pakistan, near to the Arabian Sea and roughly 480 kilometers, 300 miles, west of Karachi. It was discovered after further investigation that it was near to India's west coast, around 800 kilometers southeast of Karachi in the Gulf of Cambay, and about 50 kilometers east of Delhi in the Yamuna River basin. It is the most developed of the three oldest civilizations in the world, despite the fact that Mesopotamia and Egyptian civilizations had their start earlier. The first was the Mesopotamian civilization. The Indus civilization featured some 100 towns and villages, the most of which were rather small, in addition to Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. The size of the two cities is indicative of political centralization, either in two massive states or in a single huge empire with changing capitals, a pattern that has precedence in Indian history. When Mohenjo-daro was wiped down by water, Harappa could have taken its place. Mohenjo population Daros was estimated to be between 35,000 and 41,250 people, whilst Harappa's population was between 23,500 and 35,000 people. The major Indus sites appear to predate the southern part of the civilization, which encompasses the Kathiawar Peninsula and beyond. The Indus civilization emerged from nearby villages and was based on irrigated agriculture in the Mesopotamian style. They were able to manage the destructive yearly flood that both fertilized and destroyed the country by using the lush Indus River valley. The new society would probably thrive around the major rivers, with a population that was well fed and steadily growing, once it found its feet on the plain and found solutions to its most insurmountable problems. The two pillars on which the civilization was built were agriculture and a sizable but elusive trade. Date stones, field peas, mustard, sesame, and sesame seeds were also found, along with some of the earliest indications of cotton. Both row barley and wheat were grown for their grain. Wild animals were first domesticated, then dogs, cats, shorthorn and humped cattle, birds, and maybe camels, buffalo, and buffalo cats. It is believed that the Asian elephant was tamed and domesticated in order to collect its ivory tusks. The political and social structures of the Indus state are poorly understood, despite the availability of archaeological evidence. Due to the stark disparities in the types and sizes of the homes, the specialization of skills, and the spatial concentration of crafts, Mohenjo-daro may have had social stratification. The extensive commerce that the Harappans carried out, which was undoubtedly well regulated, may have encouraged the creation of colonies in Mesopotamia and Badakhshan. A high degree of political and administrative authority over a vast area of territory may be seen in the astonishing consistency of weights and measures throughout the Indus provinces, as well as the development of municipal infrastructure like gigantic granaries. The abundance of inscriptions in the Harappan script suggests that a single language was spoken at the time. We know significantly less about these aspects of the Indus civilization since there are not nearly as many easily available papers from it as there are from modern Mesopotamian culture. The size and regularity of the Harappan monarchy as well as trade connections provided evidence that highly developed communication systems were required in order to sustain such a broad network of links. The identity of the language is still unknown because of the unsolved Harappan script. Many specialists believe that the language does not belong to the European family and does not have any similarities with Sumerian, Hurrian, or Elamite. This idea is supported by the findings of recent research on the placement of inscription signs. People who live in western Pakistan, near to the Harappan civilization, speak a language called Brahwi that is different from the other languages in this family. It could be related to the Dravidian language, which is used in the southern part of the Indian peninsula. The key to understanding the script's right to left writing is found in the over 2,000 tiny markings, which vary in size from a single letter to 20 characters. Over 500 signs have been found, the majority of which seem to be composites, ideographic or logographic signs, or are there others? Two teams have studied the inscriptions throughout the years, one headed by the Russian Yuri Valentinovich Norizov and the other by the Finnish Asko Parpala. Despite claims that the script has been read, there is not a lot of consensus. The Harappans used standardized weights and measurement techniques. As was just shown, the Indus civilization's inhabitants possessed a very uniform material culture. This calls for both interstate commerce and a centralized government. The fact that sucker stone chert blades are so widely used and the size of the city's industries strongly suggest the existence of trade. More proof of trade may be found in the unearthing of bronze carts at Mohenjo-daro and Harappa that are almost identical to one another and must have been linked. There must have been trade connections with people from civilizations other than the Harappans as a result of the vast diversity of crafts and unusual materials. In order to acquire goods and raw resources, the Indus civilization first conducted commerce with the forest tribes or village populations that bordered its land. Then, it conducted business with the cities and empires of Mesopotamia. Even if it is challenging to pinpoint the exact origin of the resources, there is plenty of the former. The most probable source of the metal copper was the state of Rajasthan. Gold was brought into the cities and villages in the northern Karnataka goldfields. Lead initially manifests itself in Rajasthan or another state in India. Lapis lazuli and turquoise were most likely mined in Iran rather than Badakhshan. They included fuchsite, a muscovite with a high chromium content, from Karnataka, alabaster from Iran, amethyst from Maharashtra, and jade from Central Asia. Although it is unknown what the Harappans traded, it is conceivable that they exchanged different kinds of beads and cotton cloths. The two sides may have exchanged copper or firearms. Both literary and archaeological sources provide evidence of Mesopotamian trade. Clay seal impressions with rope or sack designs on the back demonstrate that Harappan seals were used to affix bundles of merchandise. Both the finding of a Persian Gulf seal at Lathal, which was previously only known from the ports of Dilmun, now Bahrain, and Failaka in the Persian Gulf, and the abundance of Indus seals at Ur and other Mesopotamian sites are signs that maritime trade took place between other civilizations. Mesopotamia acquired a variety of commodities in return for its timber and exotic woods, ivory, lapis lazuli, gold, and opulent objects like carnelian beads, pearls, shell and bone inlays, including the Indian kidney shape. Lathal received copper ingots from either Oman or Magan. Other possible trade items include chicken, cotton textiles, and bitumen, which are all important exports from the Indus region but are not native there. Bitumen is a native of Mesopotamia. The old Akkadian word for the Indus area was Maluha. Maluha is mentioned in Mesopotamian trade records, commodity inventories, and governmental inscriptions from the Akkadian, UR3, and Isen, Larsa eras in addition to Harappan seals and archaeological discoveries, about 2350, 1794 BCE. On the other hand, the literature and archaeological evidence suggest that the commerce began in the early dynastic period, around 2600 BCE. The Mesopotamian ports were directly reached by the ships of the Akkadian Meluhan dynasty. Dilmun functioned as the hub of trade between Mesopotamia and Maluha during the Isen, Larsa period. By the time of the Old Babylonian period, both civilizations had ceased trade. It is unnecessary to draw any conclusions about how and when this civilization came to an end since it covered such a vast territory. The period from 2000 to 1750 BCE is a good approximation. There is a chance the descent went on for decades or maybe longer. It is likely that the collapse of the urban structure did not lead to a complete breakdown in population lifestyle over the whole Indus Basin, but the previous social and political order does seem to have been completely destroyed. cities and many aspects of urban life, such as writing, seals, and specialized urban businesses, ceased to exist after that time. The tale of Mohenjo-daro ended abruptly and tragically. A band of marauders overran Mohenjo-daro in the middle of the second millennium BCE and left the dead in their path. The victim was assaulted by unknown assailants. The war god Indra of the local people attacks the walled towns or citadels of the invaders in the earliest texts of the Rig Veda, and the forts are destroyed. The incident seems to have occurred at the same time as the Indo-European invasion of the area surrounding the Indus River. Like age spoils a garment. The city has already seen a serious economic and social collapse before to the last blow. It has seen major flooding. Increased population directly contributes to the difficulty of building new dwellings. The safety of the city had already been in doubt before the last strike. The evidence indicates that the Indus Valley civilization was gradually superseded by less developed civilizations that drew their influences from Iran's and the Caucasus cultural traditions, as well as from the sub-Indus area and the overall invasion route from the north. For millennia, there was no sign of urban civilization in the northwest of India. Kathiawar and the regions immediately around it were quite different in the south. From around 1700 to the first millennium before the Common Era, Copper Age civilizations ruled central and western India. The Indus Valley civilization came to an end with the demise of these civilizations, and the huge Iron Age civilization that emerged in India about 1000 BCE was brought into being. Well, that is it for today. Thank you for watching. Hope you find this video informative. Please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for future video notifications.